Are you a perfectionist? Do you like things to be done the right way the first time? Do you hate to make a mistake? Yeah, me too. I am here, though, to tell you a very big secret about all those things that you might be afraid of making mistakes. Hi, my name is Bethel, and I'm an empowerment coach dedicated to sharing tips to help you live a life of bliss and freedom. And if that sounds good to you, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Don't forget to hit the bell so you don't miss any of the juicy tips that I share on my channel. Failure is a good thing. Now, if you're a perfectionist like me, you're probably arguing with me right now. Hopefully, you have not turned off the camera and given up on me. Because as much as I hate to admit it, I fail all the time. And I have learned that this is a good thing. A wise man, Mark Manson, he once said in his book, The Subtle Art of Not Giving an F, that our lives, well, he stated a quote that basically says that our lives are made up of little tiny, tiny failures. And the more successful we are, the more failures that we have experienced. And if you think about it, that's probably true. Some of our greatest inventions have been because of failures. Andrew Fleming was a scientist, and he was in a big hurry one day to go on vacation. And he didn't clean his petri dishes very well. And if you know anything about science, you have to clean those petri dishes. So when he came home from his trip and he came back, he had a mold growing on this inside of the petri dish. And for those of you that know this story, he learned really quickly that that mold was a good thing. It became penicillin, which most you and I have probably had at least once in our lives. It is a great drug that is used to cure infections. Now, Andrew, when he first saw all that mold and saw that he had a ruined experiment, he probably thought that he was a failure. But was he? Oh, let's talk about one of my favorite treats, the chocolate chip cookie. That was an accident. It was a failure at creating a chocolate cookie. The inventor of the chocolate chip cookie was in a hurry. She was hosting a party, and she was supposed to bring her famous batch of chocolate cookies. She worked for a company, you may have heard of it, called Nestle, and she didn't have any chocolate cookies. But what she did have was a box of a bar of cooking chocolate. Oh boy. Anyways, I was so excited, my tongue got tied. She had a bar of cooking chocolate, and she thought as she chopped it up into tiny little pieces and throw it into the dough that the chocolate would melt, turning her cookies into chocolate cookies. Did it? Thank goodness no, because we now have the chocolate chip cookie. She probably, I don't know, I never got to ask her, but she probably cried when she realized her cookies were not failures. They were not success. When she bit into that chocolate chip cookie and realized how good it was, and she shared it with her friends, Nestle Toll House Cookies immediately took her recipe, and voila, a star dessert was born. Another thing that you might have considered a failure is our post-it notes. Post-it notes. That came from a failure. The person who invented the post-it note was trying to create a very strong glue, almost stronger than super glue. But when they realized that that wasn't a success, voila, we have the post-it note. There are so many inventions out there that all came because of a failure. My daughter, she loves one of my next famous failed inventions. You may have heard of it. It's called the Slinky. The Slinky was supposed to be on a space engineer program. And the person working on it saw the spring as it fell off of the machine roll across the floor in a funny way, and it went, I bet you I can monopolize on this concept. And boom, we have the Slinky. Did he get to fix the project he was working on? Probably not. But could you imagine a world without something as simple as the Slinky? These seem very simple examples. But think about your own life. Is there something that you thought at the time might have been a failure, a mistake, and turned out good? I know that when I was trying to get to where I was today, I did lots of little tiny trips. I didn't learn how to be who I am the first time. And I am grateful for that. Because of those trips, I've got fun stories to share. Because of those little failures, I have a bigger knowledge of what works and what doesn't work in my life. And some of the things I thought were the biggest mistakes have turned out to be the biggest blessings. And I hold this very close during times currently in my life where I feel like I might be failing. There's good news. The good news is when you're wrong, when you make a mistake, when you fail, you now know what doesn't work. And that is great. You know, it's kind of like walking through a labyrinth. You may hit a wall. You can't go that way, but you now know which way you can't go. And that's the good news. And life is about celebrating all the little parts of good news and keep us feeling happy. So when you have that thing that makes you kind of feel like you're a failure, stop. Ask yourself, why am I triggered by this failure? What lesson is there to learn? And then listen to your answer. And then ask yourself, is there anything else? And listen to your answer. Do this a little bit. And when you get to an answer that just rips your inside and twists and turns you, you probably have hit the core reason that that failure seems like a bad thing. And that's the good news, because now you can heal that broken, wounded part inside of you. The harder that hits, the more successful you will be at healing. And then, as you heal, you can ask yourself, how are you going to change? And that is the key to living a happy life, because pain inspires change. And you want to change. You don't want to stay the same at all times. And if you think about it, you're always choosing. You can kind of be morbid and think you're always choosing which pain you'd rather be. You could be the smartest kid in the room. But at what cost? Did you get to play outside a lot? Did you get to have a lot of sports activities? You chose the pain of studying, doing your homework, learning, reading, versus the pain of maybe running around the football field 12 times and be on the football team. You could be a little bit like me, a little bit chubby, but that comes with pain. You know, my knees hurt a little bit, you know, but I could, and I am working on it, choose the pain of going to the gym. Either way, I'm going to hurt. So which one do I really want? My friends, pain inspires change, and that's the good news. You're always choosing what pain you are going to face. And great. Once again, I would like to say that some of the most successful people have led a life of very many tiny failures, but they've chosen to look at those failures as good things. When you fail, don't let it trip you up. In fact, get rid of that word. It's an ugly F word, and we don't like F words, do we? Instead, look at it as a blessing. And for those of you that know me, you'll hear me always saying, well, how can you shift the story? Heal that inner wounded child and shift your story. Choose which pain you would rather have, because pain is a good thing. And until next time, friends, namaste.